Can you use the same K-Cup more than once? Can you use the same pod to brew extra cups of coffee? I'm not so sold on the idea that you can, but what I'm going to do before I say that it's not possible, I'm going to put this to the full test, a full experiment, using some tips and tricks that I've heard from others and that I've read online, and I'm going to see if we truly can get a good cup of coffee from the second pass of a Keurig capsule. But before we continue, I'm Joe with Joe Picks Joe. A sub and a like of the video would be tremendous. This is a brand new channel, so I'm trying to build it up. It's a channel where we talk all about tasting and brewing of coffee in a fun way. Okay, so using the same capsule to brew one, not just one, but two, maybe even three, that might be a little insane, but at least 2 cups of coffee. What are sort of some of the use cases for this? Why would someone want to do this? And I could really only think of 2 reasons. And this is kind of alluding to, like, do you really want to do this? And the first reason is you're just simply out of K-Cups and you just need a coffee. And for that reason, yeah, I could see you doing it. And the second possible reason might be is if you're just trying to save money and you're just trying to reuse the K-Cups. In that case, I would suggest that you do not get the standard K-Cups. What I suggest that you pick up is, well, it's some reusable K-Cups. These are the plastic ones. I have plastic and the stainless steel ones. I prefer the stainless steel ones, but the plastic ones are also a good way to go as well, and I use these for some videos. So I do recommend this because once you ground your own coffee, once you get whole beans and ground them up, or you just buy ground coffee like in a bag or a tin, it's going to cost you, I did the math on several brands, it's going to cost you about less, or about half the price of what's going to cost you for a already filled one. So that's an option if budget is one of your concerns. So there's nothing stopping you from actually doing it. There's nothing that you're not going to fry the Keurig machine. There's nothing going to happen to the pod. You're not going to set fire, nothing like that. So there's nothing physically preventing you from brewing it twice. So the big question is, like, should we be brewing it twice? Like, for example, like, is this second cup of coffee going to actually taste like coffee? Is it going to be drinkable? And I don't know about you, when I first heard about this, my immediate answer was no, hell no. Why would anyone do that?
No, hell no.
So I am a little bit skeptical, but I'm going to be going into this with an open mind. I'm going to be trying, I really want this to succeed, so I'm going to be trying different things to try and give this the best chances of success. So how am I doing that? Well, that's a good question. Number one, I'm going to be using a dark roast, most specifically an Italian roast by Barista Prima, and I'll set up a picture here so you can see it, and I'll link it down below. It's not my favorite coffee, but it's great for using experiments like this. And the reason why I'm picking a dark roast is that it already has, so the first cup's gonna have really bold, deep flavors. So I'm hoping the second pass through, it's gonna pick up more of those deep, bold flavors and pass them on to the second cup. Again, trying to give it the best chance possible. The second thing that I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be using the lowest setting on the Keurig. So if you caught my last video, if you haven't, definitely go check it out after you watch this. But I'll set up a link down below and a card up top as well, where I talk about if you have a Keurig, you're probably drinking watered down coffee, unless you're using the 6-ounce setting. So we have the 6, 8, and 10-ounce setting. So I'm gonna be using the lowest setting, the 6-ounce one, with the theory being with the least amount of water passing through is that they won't fully take all the flavor and all the caffeine from the grounds and into the cup, and hopefully we can use it again. And then thirdly, I'm gonna be using a little bit of a trick between the 2 cups. I'm gonna be taking out the Keurig, and I heard this is what I heard from other people, that it's really gonna help if you take out the K-Cup and you shake it around, you get those grounds a little bit looser. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is for testing the results of it, I'm going to be using clear mason jars. So we could see not only judging it from the flavor, from what I'm telling you, from the taste, but we'll be able to see it as well, like see clearly if it's watered down or not by looking just visually through the clear glass. All right, without further ado, let's start brewing the first cup of coffee. Okay, we got cup number 1 complete. A nice, very, very dark roast. And it smells quite good, actually. All right, so let's open it up and be careful because it is going to be hot if you're trying to experiment at home as well. Okay, so I shook it around a bit. It was hard to tell, like if, there we are. It took quite a bit of shaking actually to really feel like it was loose, but I think we're good now. Okay, so I'm gonna line up the bottom. So there's 2 needles in the Keurig machines that you have to be careful of. There's a needle at the bottom, there's a needle at the top to puncture the K-cups in their respective places as well. What I'm gonna be doing is lining up the whole of the bottom with the needle at the bottom as well. Again, trying to give it the best chance possible. Okay. All right, here we go. I mean, it's not looking bad, but I could tell it's a little bit lighter than the other one. Just look at the stream there. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be quite a bit lighter. So there is quite a bit of difference just visually looking at it. And I'll show up a picture right now because you're a little bit far. I'll show up a picture. You could tell number 1 is clearly much darker than number 2. But we already knew that. We already knew that the second pass through of the grounds was going to produce a more watered down coffee. But the real big question is this drinkable? Like, is it actually, are you actually going to enjoy it? And I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes here to cool down.
A few minutes later.
All right, they cooled down a little bit, so now I'm ready to taste with brew number 2. Okay. Okay. And let me try brew number 1 now. That's much better. All right, now that I tried both, let me give you a breakdown of the differences. So the second pass through, we knew it was going to be more watered down. So yes, it is much more inferior to the first brew. But what is the big thing is that it was a lot weaker coffee. It was just weaker in taste, but also weaker in mouthfeel. It just seemed less heavy. It seemed lighter. It just seemed almost like a tea, just like a really steeped tea. That's what it tastes like. So in my opinion, are you able to do it? Yeah, you are able to do it. Is it going to be enjoyable? Probably not. Probably not. It's certainly not something I'm going to serve someone. Be like, oh, here's a second pass through of a brew. I would never do that. If you're in a pinch, yeah, it is possible, and it's not going to be bad if you throw in some sugar and some cream. It's really going to help you. Is really going to help it out. If you were using a light roasted coffee or even a medium roasted coffee, I think you're really stretching it there in terms of like enjoyability. But if you're in a pinch and you really want to inject some caffeine, yeah, I think it's possible. So that was, can you brew 2 coffees using the same K-cup? And the answer is, yeah, you can, but not really. Have you ever brewed, used a K-cup to brew 2 cups of coffee? Are you going to after this, after watching this video? Definitely let me know by commenting below. Again, the links to everything I talked about is down in the description as well. Subscribe, like this video, I'd really appreciate it. I'm Joe with Joe Picks Joe, and I'll see you in the next one.